This message is for those of you who are seekers, you're rebels, you're wanderers on this spiritual path. Your soul moves forward driven by unseen threads, and the longing for knowledge is hunger that never fades. So you constantly feel like you're peeling back layers to things. You're constantly seeking more truth, more wisdom, more information, but you don't follow a typical spiritual path. You're defiant in a way when it comes to being overly positive. And it's not that you're not positive, it's just that you want to know the truth, right? The rules were never meant to confine you. Trust your inner fire to burn away old limitations and carve a path where others fear to tread. So you're carving out a new path. You're not trying to manifest or create in typical ways. And maybe many of you feel like you're just wandering. Your soul was never meant to stay in one place, and not necessarily that you're constantly meant to move around. Some of you do move around a lot, but I think this is more from a spiritual point of view. There is wisdom to be found in movement. Movement. 8 of Wands. And your path is shaped by the journeys you take, the spiritual journeys, the experiences. Embrace the unknown, for each new horizon brings a lesson, and every step forward reveals another layer of what you're meant to become. Many of you understand this, but from maybe a worldly point of view, maybe you don't fit in. You don't really fit into a typical ideal or mold or a traditional way of living your life as far as success goes. You're here to break those rules. And it can be very uncomfortable for you, and it can be very uncomfortable for other people that deal with you, because you trigger it. You act as a mirror and a trigger to the fear they have. Fortune favors the bold. You understand this on a soul level. So it may not be that it's materializing all the time from the earthly point of view, but it's from a spiritual point of view, it resonates. And rebellious people, defiant people, they break chains, they break patterns, they break the status quo. They don't fear carving out new paths. So, modern spirituality has been heavily marketed as wish fulfillment, right? You think good thoughts, you get the perfect life, right? People that are successful are obviously more positive. Align your vibe, love, money, and meaning will all magically appear. You get this in law of attraction, prosperity gospels, all of that. The law of attraction is a lifestyle brand, and it can be incredibly seductive and incredibly alienating in your lived experience when your reality doesn't match that fantasy. But your reality, your world was never meant to match that fantasy. So it can be very discouraging, right? Many of you may even feel discouraged, like you're not fitting into that box. But your experience matters, collective, because what you're feeling is the shadow side. The shadow side of, being not fitting into boxes, not being compartmentalized into a version of what everybody else thinks is successful. So what happens when you're doing the inner work and you still feel alone? Or what happens when you believe but things are falling apart? Anyway, and what happens when you're growing spiritually and instead of joy, you feel grief, you feel loss and disillusionment? That's where the rebel comes in. You're not getting the lived experience of all this love, light, and high vibe, you know, and there's nothing wrong with those things, but you may be feeling shut out from that ideal experience because that's not necessarily your path. And real spirituality isn't always pretty. It's not always manifesting things. It's often unmanifesting illusions. That's the real reality. That's that death energy. Many of you felt that with this Scorpio full moon. It was like breaking down like maybe some of you even experienced a little bit of an ego death because what you thought you were manifesting, it didn't fit into something. And sometimes it's not always about abundance. It's death. It's surrender. It's rebirth. It's not about being magnetic. It's also about being true, even when it's inconvenient, right? The rebel and the seeker, they're true to themselves, even when it's uncomfortable. And sometimes it's heavy. It feels like you're invisible, like you're just kind of walking in your own dimension at times. So yeah, many of you, the ideal that you were sold was that fortune favors the bold, right? If you take a leap of faith towards your dreams, they just manifest easily, right? It's risk taking. But also, many of you do take risk and you end up in this death energy, this hope. It's not maybe something's not regenerating the way you thought it would, right? That's what's not resonating, is that impulse or risk just automatically leads to this hope of renewed life. Your death rebirth process looks a lot different. And what's real is that you have to take action in the material world. Many of you are needing to understand that you work differently. A sign of good luck, given a token, maybe something is working out, but it's minimal, right? It's little things. It's the little things. Sometimes it's the smaller, what seem insignificant, insignificant experiences are actually lucky opportunities. So instead of the big things, you're meant to look at the little present moment, day-to-day things. And some of you have lost hope. You've taken those risks, right? You've leapt into those cycles, and maybe it didn't turn out the way everybody has sold it, right? Or packaged it. Your soul's true calling is to do something different, because it says, I rule the world through the virtue of your ancestors. You're meant to break ancestral patterns. Your success, your abundance is going to look a lot different than theirs. It's not going to be the cookie cutter, suburban white picket fence. You're breaking that down. What works for them doesn't necessarily work for you. And this is a trigger for many of you. But your medicine for the world is about taking action towards wisdom. Because when you're a seeker and a wanderer, the biggest source of abundance for you is going to be your wisdom. Wisdom is the guardian of all things, but what I'm getting to is you're becoming the guardian of wisdom. That's your medicine. Don't downplay the fact that your medicine is death, rebirth, regeneration, breaking down things, triggering growth. What is it? Maybe I'm getting kind of like the shadow empath, or not a trickster energy, but more like the rebel kind of comes off as more of a challenger, to the status quo. Yeah, a challenger, 5 of Wands, force that cannot be overcome with force. It's like with the snake, you're transforming things by challenging people to go deeper and challenging yourself to go deeper than that. You know, many mystics and spiritual people, they don't follow traditional abundance-oriented paths as far as what societal abundance looks like. You're abundant in wisdom. That's your wealth. And sometimes that's hard to swallow. Many of you won't necessarily like that, or don't necessarily like that. You want easy wish fulfillment, and then other people, they're really wanting this. This is for the seekers, the people that want to be guardians of wisdom. Caduceus is about healing. And where to root yourself is don't fear. Don't try to force change in other people. Just your existence. Your existence challenges people, right? Because it's like you trigger people naturally because you're moving through the world very differently than most people move through the world. And the glimpse of what you're becoming is you're not afraid to walk away from relationships, unions, whatever, to make sure that you are on your own path. Lord, teach me thy paths. Yes, you're trying to stay on your path. Nothing is more is nothing. You're going to walk away even from relationships in order to be on your path. That's true courage, collective. Rebels, seekers, that takes true courage, because you're mastering skills, different kinds of skills, wisdom skills, knowledge, walking a spiritual path. And it's lonely, right? The hermit. A lot of people are not on that path, and that's okay. We're not here to force. You can't force people to be on your path. You have to be willing to walk away from those connections, because inner union is deeper. That's the truth. So you don't have to be like constantly chasing down this always, false positivity. It hurts. It's painful. It's not easy. And don't place limits upon yourself. Limitations meaning thinking that you have to walk the same path of manifestation, spirituality as other people. That would be placing limits on yourself. You're meant to go way deeper, way broader. You are an infinite being with unlimited potential. You can have and be anything you want. Don't hold yourself back or allow anyone else to. Don't, even if it's a relationship. Live your truth and remain heart-centered at all times. Yes, seekers, rebels, wanderers, they're heart-centered. They feel there's something deeper. And I've been having this on my little altar here. Freedom, independence, self-determination. I've been feeling this energy, this strong energy of myself and the collective, people that are independent, free-spirited people. And, and not fearing that authentic, gritty, shadowy force. There's power in that. Death energy, scorpionic energy is powerful. Don't underestimate that. And you don't even have to do anything. You don't have to force it. You don't have to fight with it. You don't have to explain it to people. Your energy speaks for itself, collective. It speaks for itself. So I'm going to just close it out there. I think this message is for those of you just feeling this restless urge to break from chains, patterns, confusion about where you're supposed to be. You're right where you need to be when you're willing to go your own way. When you're willing, and I'm not saying defiance in a mean or obnoxious way. This is just being like, okay, I'm willing to keep seeking. I don't need to do anything to force myself to fit in a box anymore. I love you guys. And I really hope this reaches the people, those of you who really need encouragement right now to keep doing what you're doing. Bye.